The Army could talk to the Navy could talk to the Marines, which are almost the same, and so on and so forth. So that was the most fun I ever had. I used to work on 30 by 40 illustration boards and airbrush rendering and the whole schmear. So that was my background, and I had top secret and top secret crypto clearance. So you hear a lot of stuff about that now today with the current administrations, but we have a good government working for us down in Washington, D.C., and they're there and we're safe. But other than that, I don't know if I'm safe now. Let's see what I can do. Ordinarily, I start with the sky, but this time I'm going to start with the tree. And I think I'll sit before I fall. Right? I use Da Vinci paint pretty much exclusively. Winsor Newton, yeah.
Do you have some masquing on that?
No, I have tape.
Tape, okay.
Masquing takes too long to fool around with. I taught in Morris County Art Association, the Newark School of Fine Industrial Art, and after I retired, I learned from a fellow black artist in Newark. I told him I'm going to retire, and he said one thing that stuck with me, and it says, artists can never retire. So I think you'd like to know that.
What was his name?
I forget.
But you said you knew Ed Havis, who a lot of us are...
Ed Havis was a classmate of mine. I was more involved in technical illustrations, and I think he was fine art. But there were certain classes where we both were shared, and fine art was required. For the first year, everybody had to be a fine artist to start.
Was the tape cut to be in those shapes, or it's just random?
No, I just randomly put them in there. I want airspace so that when I put the branches in, I'll have something to keep it open, because I don't trust myself.
You don't like the Winsor paint?
To me, they're a little bit watery, and I find that Da Vinci is more sort of a creamer, more creamy texture. I mean, that's just me. You know. Besides, Da Vinci is cheaper than Winsor Newton. I'm trying to keep the shadow. I have the light. I have an arrow to aid myself. The light's coming from this direction, from the left, and therefore it'll aid me in watching what I'm trying to do. So, to me, yellow is the savior of all paintings.
What do you mean by that?
Yellow can give you life and lots of, let's see. I use a large brush because if I use a small brush, I start doing miniatures. And I have to keep myself away from that, from doing too much technical work.
What color is it?
Just sort of a basic orange. I'm not into a million colors, although I have them. I like the, what's her name? Nita, that uses just the basic colors.
Granger?
England. England, yeah. I like her approach. She'll take a painting and drop it in a stream. Okay, I'm gonna get a little darker with
And what are you wiping your brush on?
just a palette. I also have a piece of paper here,
Oh, it's just a piece of paper?
just plain old paper, paper.
So it's not a paper towel?
Yeah, I haven't used those yet.
Okay.
Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm gonna go right over here fast. Can you see my pencil work?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was chickened to do that first, so.
Will you erase the lines?
No,
Okay.
don't worry about that.
Why do you use a flat brush rather than a round brush?
I feel you can control it better. You also have a good straight, when you use the edge of it, you can get a good straight line without being too talented, right? I'm letting the painting paint itself.
What kind of paper is that?
Arch is a 140-pound cold press. I'm going to put just a little bit of cobalt with that. You fool around with the sky too much, you wreck it. I'm now a great-grandpa. We have 3. And the 6-year-old wants to be an artist. I said, "You sure?"
So is it as exciting being great-grandpa as a grandpa?
Yeah, because we don't have to babysit. And I can say to my daughter, she's the grandma now, so. I clean the edge because I don't want feedback, so that the. Maybe get a little bit more. And the intermingling of this doesn't bother me because I'm going to go back anyway and do something with it. The more you fool with the sky, the quicker you're going to ruin it.
color yellow is that?
I think it's just lemon yellow. Like that.
That paper you're working on, was that previously stretched?
No, I didn't bother. I thought about that, but I was running out of time, so it does make a big difference to me.
Is it buckling on you now?
If you stretch the paper, it's a much smoother surface, and it takes the paint a lot easier.
Is it buckling on you now? I can't see from it.
Is it buckling now?
Is it what?
Buckling.
Buckling?
No. No, I've got it pretty tight. Jerry's now, I wanted to buy a 25 sheet Arches Bright, and they didn't have it. So I got a couple single sheets of the Arches, but he had a paper from India, and it was 5 sheets, I think, for $19. And it's really strange. It looks like gauze was impregnated in the paper, and it's sort of a dark white color. But I started the painting with it, and it seems to be fairly decent, but kind of tough to work with, I guess. So we have to see.
So it has a texture of gauze? on
Of
it?
gauze, yeah.
Weird.
Strange. Now, maybe, I don't know if there's a right side and a wrong side with that stuff. So I saw the $19 was cheap, so
You get what you pay for. Some-
you get what you pay for, right?
Are you working from a photo at all?
No, I have one here that I did before,
Okay.
and this doesn't look anything like it. In fact, I changed the position of the building, so I can show you that because you can see what I'm trying to do. Oops. Except the building's facing the other
You
way.
have to put it on the tabletop,
If you put it on the table, everybody
so the
can see
camera
it.
will get it.
No, on top of your actual painting, and the
There you
camera picks it
go.
up.
Very good.
Nice. Okay, we know where you're going.
Okay,
All right.
I hope I get there. See, but now I can peek. Okay. Let it get dark again. This is what I'd like to do with the flat, yeah. I've been here watching other artists do demos, and after the first hour, it's not bad, but after that, it gets kind of long, so I'm gonna try to speed it up so you can get out of here and see the football game. No. I didn't want to end up putting too much color in, so I... Okay, that's enough. Now a bunch of darker mix in the foreground. So you have three different levels.
So that's already dry underneath and you're putting that on?
Yeah, it's dry in here, I think. Okay. Now what I'm really, sort of a lightish color in here. Root. Okay. Now, since the light's coming from this direction, I can shadow this. Oops. I got some yellow in there, which I didn't want, but that's how it is. Okay. It's not quite the blue I want. Okay, edit. Now I get serious, right? Notice I use the pinky as a guide. I learned that from sign painting. two trees there, whoops.
What'd you say?
And there's a dock. It's really dark because it's going to dry later a bit. And I realize I have two trees, one here too. This guy went over too far. Let's see if I can do that. It's a lot easier to take the take the tape off than the mask it.
Sometimes you can't get the mask.
There's one here. Okay. Now, the edges have to be softened. Not totally, just partially. Oh, there's another one. Okay. Try a small brush. Burnt sienna and cobalt. The more cobalt, the darker it gets, the more burnt sienna, the lighter it gets. I just want a branch color. See, it's still running. A little bit lighter.
Did you also use cobalt in the sky?
I didn't
Did you
hear the...
use cobalt in the sky also?
Yes, cobalt, yeah, pretty much. Occasionally I'll drop something else in there. at home, I work with a dryer, so this is gonna be a little bit of a problem here. Big problem. How do we fix that? Wait.
I got a dryer for you, Ed.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Is that your personal hair dryer, John?
Yeah. You
I
can see
love
I
it.
need it, right?
She knows how to hurt a man.
I love it. My husband has one too.
I don't have to see the barber anymore. My wife takes care of it, but it saves a lot of money.
I don't know if I can get it. I think I'd get it the other side.
Oops. Trying to get just one spot
Okay.
here. Okay, thanks very much. Powerful one.
Just don't set it on fire.
Good. Well, now I can do something with that. Oops. I notice when you paint and do a lot of painting, I go through phases where there's a certain kind of an approach that I'll use, and after a while you get tired of that approach, so you try something else, like pouring. And with pouring, you don't have that much control, but sometimes you have like a happy accident, so it works out well. And you can have some unhappy accidents as well.
You paint every day?
Pretty much, yeah. It's tough because I have students that have been with me for like 20 years. They came from the Morris County Art. I taught up there about 5-6 years. And they found out that I was teaching in the Chatham Senior Center, where the price is about a third. So I'm sure Morris County wasn't too happy that I wasn't out to make money. I just wanted to have fun. So. But what I was starting to say is that when you have people that have been with you that long, you better come up with a new project every week.
Yes.
And that ain't easy, McGee. So you could fiddle with putting little branches and stuff in there. Now that Sterling Edwards, I happened to take his tape, and then I saw on the back of the brochure for the group that he's going to have a workshop for, I believe it's 3 days for $790, is it? Yeah, it's in New Jersey in May.
Mount
Yeah,
Freedom.
And I
Mount
think
Freedom,
it's
yeah.
4 or 5 days.
But he's sounds like a pretty good teacher. He's very dogmatic in his approach. But one of the things that I learned from watching him is he uses the very dark spots to bring up contrast. That's what I'm doing now, here and there, to give contrast. See what happens? Whoops. Because you got to blend it in a little bit too. And how we So you can skip areas if you want. It's dangerous, but you can do that. Oops. It's a little too bright. You don't want straight lines on your roof. You want the roof to be like this.
Why is that?
Because from a distance, if it's straight, it's going to look like it's collapsed. So I tend to overdo it, but if you're doing an old barn, it really works out well. But otherwise, that's another point where you're trying to do an artistic piece of work instead of an architectural rendering. 'Cause architects do work like that, but some of them know what they're doing, but a lot of them don't. We have McMansions all around next to my house now. There's a McMansion going up for about, it's going to be $2.4 million. And they had a beautiful, I guess it was a cherry tree in the front, huge. Boom, that's gone. So I hate to see trees get wiped out. But I spoke to the architect, they're just fiddling around with it. They do better if they don't tear down the whole house. If they leave one of the walls up and the foundation, there's a tax benefit that they get when they're building. So you have the entrepreneurial people, you have the architect who works with them, and then you have the actual builder. And the builder subcontracts for specialists in every one of those areas. So I've been watching what they do. They have somebody that does chimneys, masonry, somebody add-on foundations and all this kind of stuff. So my whole town has been rebuilt, and McMansions are the name of the game, I guess.
What town is? what-
Chatham Township.
Oh, in Chatham.
I'm right up against the Great Swamp. So when we've been there 45 years. And when we first moved in, we had raccoons and everything, no raccoons anymore. And deer, the deer population is down.
They moved to Cedar Grove.
They went to Cedar Grove. Yeah,
They're
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. There was a disease that I think blue jays had and deer had, so they lost a lot of them. I'm into that. I like to follow that stuff.
What's a McMansion?
To which?
What's a McMansion? You heard that, though.
I can't hear what he said.
He wants to know what we're saying.
He's asking what a McMansion is.
Oh,
All the new houses like that.
yeah. They have no children and they want 12 rooms,
Right.
12 bedrooms. But the idea is these young ones that work in New York, they want to be close to the train station. And they don't care too much about it. Some of them don't even want to buy their own homes. So.
That's,
And I'm an automobile nut. I love cars. My grandson, they could care less about cars.
why do you use a piece of paper for your brush instead of a
Right
paper
here?
towel? Yeah.
Because I'm working pretty wet,
You want your paper
and I want
to
to.
stay wet.
I get more control if I get some of the moisture off the brush. And I'm sort of trying to work in a hurry. I want to try to get out of here. No, because I've been in the audience too, and I know after an hour and a half it gets kind of tedious, so I'm trying to get you out before the second half hour, right?
So you think the
Thanks,
paper
Ed.
towel takes too much water?
Say that again?
So you think the paper towel would take too much water off your?
Yes, yeah. I want to keep a certain amount. I'll give this a little figure here with a little red shirt and something like that. Also, it helps point the brush.
Oh,
And you can take your brush and twirl it and get a point. Then you have more control. I know from advertising, you need, people like to see other people in ads. So that's the difference between a fine art and illustration. An illustration basically has to sort of tell a story. Fine art, the story has to be subliminal almost. And a thing of beauty is a joy forever and all that good stuff, right? You know that.
and you're bringing red for some unity with the red on the shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just had it, so I figured I might as well use it.
So it wasn't subliminal, no?
I see I missed some tape here too.
Oh, for goodness sake.
There's an egg up in the sky, right? All right. That's when it really dries. Got to take advantage and put a tree branch there. Okay, let me finish his names. Still damp there, so it's kind of tough. still wet, so I got a problem there. Get garish here. Seems to be something else. I'm gonna call it quits.
Okay, very good.
You have to sign it.
X.
X.
Excellent.
I'm gonna put a mat on it. Ouch. Get this out of your way.